Hi everyone, my name is Cherish Wiley, and today we'll be discussing phylum. This will be my final phylum project submission. And phylum means the different categories that organisms are put in based on their different taxonomy levels. So for today, my first species, we have Lumbricus testerius linnaeus, which is also known as the earthworm. The taxonomy levels or classification of the earthworm is the kingdom is Animalia, the phylum is Annelida, the class is Clitinata, the order is Opistopora, the family is Lubricate, and the genus is Lubricus. The mode of nutrition. Earthworms eat mostly dead or organic materials, and they live in soil and eat excrement that is also known as decomposing matter. The mode of reproduction for earthworms is that they're hermaphrodites, which means that they have male and female reproductive organs. And to make it long story short, that the earthworm basically splits in half, usually at the head, and it grows and regenerates into two different earthworms. The habitat that earthworms live in is that they can mostly be found in depth areas of soil with decaying plant material. Earthworms are most commonly in wet forest environments, although they may also be found in a variety of freshwater and land settings. But it is a priority and a necessity for them to live is to be in wet soil conditions or they'll dry out. The primary ecological role of earthworms, they are significant decomposers of dead and deteriorating organic debris. Feeding on the bacteria and fungus that thrive on these materials, they break down organic materials and contribute to the significance of recycling and nutrients in the soil. So, if you're planting, you want earthworms in your soil. Range and distribution. Earthworms can be found in most temperatures and tropical soils. There are 23 families and over 700 genera and over 7,000 species among earthworms. They are found annually at all depths in the earth, range in sizes from an inch to 2 yards. I haven't seen one 2 yards, but for species 2, we have octopus bimoclutus, which is an octopus, but I think the octopus Bimoclutus is a two-spotted California octopus. The classification or taxonomy levels are for the kingdom is Animalia, the phylum is a mollusca, the class is a Cephalopoda, the order is Octopoda, the family is Octopodane, and the genus is Octopus. The mode of nutrition, the Pacific octopus, the Pacific water octopus are carnivores and heterotrophic. The octopus eats on a diverse range of aquatic animals such as snails, mussels, clams, crabs, scallops, lobsters, and shrimp are some of the most popular ones, but they have also been seen to eat land creatures like birds. The mode of reproduction for octopus are during mating, the male approaches the female who pushes him away, but eventually accepts him. So she's basically going to play hard to get. He mounts her and sits her and asserts, his reproductive parts into the other woman's reproductive parts. And they copulate for a couple of hours, and that's how they create a baby. The habitat. Octopuses can be found in the ocean on almost on every ocean on the planet, as well along the every U.S. coast. Octopuses are found in coastal marine environments and spend the most of their time in dens, which are tiny holes and crevices in rocks and coral. They are usually solitary and possessive of their territory. I would be too. Primary ecological roles. Octopuses have a unique predatory function in community formation, and no other invertebrate can equal it. Because of their live fast, die young lifestyle, their populations adapt swiftly and strongly to their environmental changes, suggesting that they might be an indicator of ecosystem change, which is their primary ecological role. If I go back. The range and distribution. Octopuses may be found in tropical and temperate seas all around the world. They can be found in large numbers in the Mediterranean Sea, off the coast of Japan, and in coastal waters between 1 and 200 meters deep in the Earth Atlantic. They are found in shallow seashore seas to continental outer edges between 0 through 200 meters. Species 3, we have the Arcus bisporus, also known as a mushroom. The classification or taxonomy levels of the mushroom is the kingdom is a fungi, The division, which will be like the phylum like the other one, is Dicaria. The class is Agariomocetes. The order is Agaricales. The family is Agaricae, and the genus is Acarius. Mode of nutrition of mushrooms is that they feed on dead and decaying organic materials, and the mechanism of nourishment is sporadic nutrition. Mushrooms feed in a sporadic manner, that is why dead and rotting plants and animals feed on organisms like mushrooms. Mode of reproduction. Fungi reproduce in two ways, sexually or asexually, and imperfect fungus reproduces by asexually, by meiosis, whereas a perfect fungi will reproduce sexually, excuse me. Fungi reproduce in asexual manner through fragmentation, budding, or spore production, and sexual reproduction is common in fungus in response to harsh environmental circumstances. Habitat. Mushrooms are fungal spores that flourish in moist, dark environments. They need a medium with a lot of rotting plant material in it. They frequently emerge from dead trees. Plants, on the other hand, develop from seeds that require a lot of sunlight and soil, as well as a dry atmosphere. And this is what makes them different from plants. Plants will be in the kingdom of Plantae, but mushrooms, even though we can't eat them, they are in a category of fungi. That's what makes them different. The primary ecological role of mushrooms is that they aid in nutrition and water and act as decaying agents that contribute to the carbon cycle where nutrients are placed into the soil. And they're also important for macroorganism population controllers. And that's why if you see a lot of mushrooms, you know it's a lot of dead material there. So stuff is dying. The range and distribution. Fungi are abundant in the soil and in air, as well as lakes, rivers, and oceans, and among plants and animals, and food and clothes, and in the body. Mushrooms are found all around the world, but other fungi are just found, everywhere. And the fourth and final species will be the Platytrusum commune, which is moss. The classification or taxonomy levels of moss is they're in the kingdom of Plantae, the division of Bryophyta. The class is Polytrichospida. The order is Polytrichiales. The family is Polytrichidae, and the genus is Polytrichum. The mode of nutrition for moss is they are little non-woody plants that absorb water and nutrition, mostly through their leaves using photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide into sunlight into food. Mode of reproduction for moss. Mosses have the ability to reproduce asexually through vegetation. Vegetatively. The approach they utilize to do this varies depending on the scenario. Individual plants emerge when the stem of a huge clump of moss dies back. The habitat. Mosses can be found all throughout the world, but they're mostly surrounded by saline water and are usually found in wet, shaded areas. This species blankets the woodland forests. Mosses break down exposed substrata, which is a level of soil in the ground, and the environment releasing nutrients for one to use for more specific, sophisticated plants. So maybe like a flower that reproduce after them. The primary ecological role of mosses break down exposed substrata in the environment, releasing nutrients for use by more sophisticated plants. That would be like a flower or tree that come after them. They also help limit soil erosion by providing surface covers and absorbing water. They are vital in some plant kind nutritions and water economies. So I would compare a moss to weeds, but you will want a moss around your plants. You do not want weeds because they will constrict and suffocate that plant. You will like mosses because they will help bring it to life. The range and distribution of mosses. I did not fix the slide, but mosses can be found everywhere around the world. Majority in North America, you can see them in the ground, in meadows, on top of rocks, and yeah. The references and citations. So I use the Center of Disease Control. I use the itis.org. I use the Phylum on biologyonline.org, and I use nationalgeographic.com and britannica.com. gmail.com. Thank you guys so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this. So thank you so much.